Hello everyone, and welcome to the game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Cobra A, and he's in the Yamato, a tier 10 Japanese battleship. He's on the map Haven, and it's a ranked battle. So there are 3 battleships, 2 cruisers, and 1 destroyer. Cobra has made his way over to the A cap with Des Moines, and the remaining team is, well, they've taken B and they're moving on towards C. So far we have a good first salvo. It looks like a Slava and a Kurfürst are coming this way, but we've only spotted 2 enemies, which means there are a lot of unknowns still. So he's launching his fighter plane to get some spotting. Now, we haven't seen the enemy destroyer yet. It's possible that he's at sea, although it took them a while to cap C. Then again, it's not like they're capping A that fast. It might be that the enemy destroyer isn't going for a capture point at all, which is weird, but hey. The gearing is going forward to get some scouting. The most concerning part right now is that there is basically no vision except for the 2 battleships here. And I mean, it's a Slava and a Kurfürst. As a Yamato, you definitely don't want to brawl both of those at the same time. The Kurfürst is gonna be very tricky. So Cobra is probably gonna turn right here, and he was briefly detected by the Kurfürst planes. Now, once he comes around, he's probably gonna turn right and then try to kite away from the Slava and the Kurfürst. The Slava is eating quite a bit of damage. Now, the good news is that the friendlies are potentially creating a crossfire. Also, we've spotted all enemies except for the Shimmer. There we go, the Slava is showing its lovely nose here that can be overmatched. And that was a nice salvo. So exactly, he's gonna turn away here. He has to protect his vulnerable cheeks. The Kurfürst meanwhile is going too far forward and is no longer part of this engagement in a sense, which means he can focus down the Slava here and... Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. Now, Yamato has some good torpedo protection, but he's on very low health. He's immediately going to heal up, and this is where you might think this game is going to go horribly wrong. The Shimmer is actually pushing in so far that it's spotted. The problem, of course, is it's already disengaging. Yamato turret traverse is pretty long. The Shimmer is even smoking up. So there is no point in trying to shoot it. Now, the good news is the Slava and... well, I mean, the Kurfürst is behind the island, and the Slava has been ignoring him so far. If they'd actually been shooting him, together with the Shimmer, they would have taken him down. Now, this is a bad spot to be in, because he can't do anything against the Shimmer. And, well, he's trapped between those battleships and the Shimmer, so he's doing the best and in a bad spot, and that's just pushing the Slava and the Kurfürst. Because if he sticks around here, you know, the Shimmer will reload its torps and will probably finish him off. I mean, it's a bit interesting that the Shimmer is actually shooting him from that smoke screen. Meanwhile, there is a Salem broadside there. The Slava has been dealt with, and there's even a close quarters expert, so that's nice. Now, to the Kurfürst. The Kurfürst still hasn't turned its guns that way, so that's lovely. That's just lovely. Now, the good news is Shimmer torps take a while to reload, but at some point they're gonna come in from the rear. So right now he is mostly concerned with angling against the Kurfürst. There is the added benefit of that island behind that might offer some protection. And you know, the Kurfürst still isn't looking that way. So Cobra has decided he's gonna use his rear guns. Now, usually this is going to be rather problematic because he exposes his full broadside, but the Kurfürst guns still aren't looking that way, and while Kurfürst turret traverse isn't the worst, yeah, it still takes it a while. You can see the turrets are slowly turning this way, but by the time they are done, it's gonna be too late. So that's another close quarters expert. Who is the brawling battleship now? So basically, Cobra 8 a boatload of Shima torpedoes and still just went in and rolled 2 battleships, and the battleships just utterly ignored him. Welcome to ranked battles, where the best of the best are. Yeah, the enemy team hasn't showered itself in glory so far. Meanwhile, the enemy cruisers are getting pushed by the poison and are surprisingly broadside. Cobra is absolutely demolishing them. This is just a hilarious battle so far, right? So Cobra got caught off guard by some torpedoes, and what should have been a short battle is just turning into a slaughter because the enemy team just... Yeah, I don't know what the enemy team is doing. But Cobra is certainly gonna enjoy this. Now the Petro is broadside, it stopped reversing here and is going forward again. So here come the shells, and what are Yamato shells gonna do? Oh, that's some citadels. Well, meanwhile it looks like the friendly gearing has charged the Yamato at the zone wall and got taken out. But you know, it really doesn't matter. The enemy team has been wrecked pretty hard so far. The Yamato is at the zone wall, where it can't really do much. And that Petro is going for its last charge here. Now it's pretty dangerous to expose this much broadside to a Petro, but the Petro is barely floating, and I guess at this point Cobra is just decided it's worth to get a salvo off of his rear guns. There goes the Petro, which brings him up to 4 kills, not too shabby out of 6 enemies. And you know, the last 2 are still alive. So there is a chance to get some more. The Yamato is very far away, it's also on low health. Let's see if he can get a sneaky Yamato kill there. I mean, the Yamato is stuck against the zone wall, so it's barely moving. Shells are not looking too bad. Yeah, well, or some damage. At this point, this game is pretty much won. And you know, the enemy team has basically been crushed by Yamato that was down to, what, 6,000 health? At this point, it's like Cobra actually just took the torps, because otherwise this wouldn't have been a challenge, right? Yeah, basically the entire enemy team has been crushed by a Yamato down to 6k health. Oh well. There is still a Shima remaining. Unfortunately, he didn't quite get the Yamato, so now he has to see if he can get the Shima. Of course, if you watched the latest Project Rect, you might have already been spoiled the outcome of this. Now, let's speed it up a little bit. We know that the Shimmer is inside A, but you know, taking a cap at this stage of the game is not really going to do much. Here comes the Raider, so they can see the Shimmer. High explosive. Well, actually, I think this is, you know, in replays it usually just shows the wrong ammunition these days. It's just one of the current bugs that we have to live with. So I'm not actually sure what ammunition he has loaded. Might still be ammo piercing, might be high explosive, but anyway, that Shimmer is in for a rough time. Well, hello there. Yeah, that's 8 shell hits of a Yamato. The Demoin or somebody else got a hit in 2, and now the secondaries might even finish this off. You know, this battle was just hilarious. Cobra basically carried this hard, and he single-handedly smashed the enemy team, more or less. And he did it with barely any hit points, because he ate so many Shima torps in the end, and usually at this point you'd be thinking, you know, the game's over, but no. No, he just went in and wrecked everyone. And what's even better is like the enemy just, like the battleships ignored him, and after he dealt with them, he just abused broadsides because he was in a perfect crossfire position. So yeah, I found this hilarious. I laughed a lot. I hope you did too. And I'll see you next time.